Hi, I'm Norm Voller, owner-operator of Diamond Sharp Shears and Master Sharpener. Over the past 8 years, we have tested, measured, and sharpened over 50,000 shears. We have interviewed thousands of stylists, represented 20 different shear makers, and sharpened every shear type, make, and model 100 to 1,000 times. All this activity has resulted in new information, which we are excited to share with you in this video. To cut hair extremely smoothly, a shear must have 3 things. First, it must be sharpened to at least 45 degrees. Second, it must have a high quality steel capable of holding the edge for several months. And third, it must be adjusted so that the edges line up perfectly so that the blade does not dull out quickly. This diagram shows a cross-section views of a 35 and a 70 degree cutting edge about to cut into hair. A cross-section view just allows us to zoom in and see what happens as the hair is cut. Here we can see the hairs after cutting. Notice that the 35 degree blade has sliced cleanly through the hair, while the 70 degree blade is 4 times taller and has simply crushed the hair until it broke in half. The 70 degree blade has left the hair damaged, so it will not hang straight in the haircut and is more likely to create split ends. This is an actual photo of hair cut with 35 and 70 degree shears. Not only is the hair damaged, but the stylist will have had to squeeze the handle 4 times harder with the 70 degree shear. In this comparison chart, we have noted the comments of stylists regarding each sharpness. You can quickly see that the 35 to 45 degree blades in the lower left are the best. 50 to 55 is not bad. After that, the blade height becomes so tall that the shear is very hard to push through the hair and begins to crush hair quite severely. We have never found a shear sharpened to 65 to 80 degrees that a majority of stylists feels cuts well. So why would anyone ever sharpen a shear to 70 degrees? The first reason is that the cheap shears from places like Pakistan have metal that is so soft that it will be dull in a few days if sharpened to anything less than 65 degrees. Even at 45 degrees, the metal is just too thin and weak. The second reason for 70 degree sharpening is that 35 degree sharpening is really hard to do. It's easy to sharpen from 55 to 90 degrees. The shear isn't very sharp in the first place. At 30 to 40 degrees, however, the cutting edge is so sharp that any misalignment will cause the blades to clash and dull each other out. It takes us 2 to 3 times longer to sharpen a shear than other sharpeners due to the additional alignment steps we have to do. The third reason is the shear was made perhaps with a fat profile. This diagram shows a correct and a fat profile. We are looking at the whole side of the cutting blade now. Look at how much metal needs to be cut away to make the shear 45 degrees. And much more to get it to 35 degrees. Shears made with fat profiles will never be sharper than 45 to 60 degrees. If we sharpen them more, the blades often twist, bend, and sometimes break. Unfortunately, our research shows that a majority of shears are made with fat profiles. It takes longer to make a correct profile shear at the factory. More metal needs to be ground off during manufacturing, and the shear is harder to sharpen in the finishing steps. Most manufacturers make about 1/3 of their shears profiled for 30 to 40 degrees, about 1/3 of their shears profiled for 50 to 60 degrees, and about 1/3 of their shears come out the very horrible profiled 65 to 80 degrees. We do not think this is intentional. It seems to be a quality control problem and a cost of manufacturing problem. But it means that you have to be in the lucky 30% to get a really good shear. Every week we get 10 to 20 shears from stylists who want us to sharpen their shear so it cuts just like their friends Mizutani. Many these stylists have paid $1,200 and more for these shears. If the profile is fat, we can make it better, but we will never be able to make it cut like a 35 degree shear. The big advantage Mizutani has over other brands is that their 35 degree shears are all profiled for 35 degrees. Their scissor smiths train for 3 years before making shears and their quality control procedures are very good. So bottom line, if you buy a 35-degree Mizutani from us at Diamond Sharp Shears, we guarantee it to be 35 degrees. We are the only authorized sharpening center for Mizutani shears in the U.S. We measure every shear before we ship it out to be sure it is 35 degrees. That way we know it is sharpened correctly when you receive it, and we will be able to restore it to the same sharpness when you need it sharpened again. We hope this video was helpful to you and that you enjoyed watching it. Our focus is to help stylists find the best shears that can help them be the best stylists they can be. If you are a stylist who really enjoys buttery cutting shears and have been disappointed by either a poor cutting new shear or a previously good cutting shear that cuts poorly after sharpening, please check out our Mizutani shears for sale or send us your shears for sharpening. Thank you so much for watching.